Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to discuss about atomic spectra. Now, what is an atomic spectra? Atomic spectra is defined as the spectrum of electromagnetic radiation emitted or absorbed by an electron during transition between different energy level within an atom. When an electron gets excited from one energy level to another, it emits or absorbs light of a specific wavelength. The collection of all these specific wavelengths of the atom in a given set of conditions like pressure, temperature, etc. is atomic spectra of atoms. There are three types of atomic spectra. They are emission spectra, absorption spectra, and continuous spectra. Atomic spectra. When an atomic gas or vapor is excited under low pressure by passing an electric current through it, the spectrum of emitted radiation has specific wavelengths. It is important to note that such a spectrum consists of bright lines on dark background. This is an emission of line spectrum. There is an emission line spectrum of hydrogen gas. The emission line spectra work as a fingerprint for identification of the gas. Also, on passing a white light through the gas, the transmitted light shows some dark lines in the spectrum. These lines correspond to those wavelengths that are found in the emission line spectra of the gas. This is the absorption of the material of gas. In the right hand side, we see emission lines in the spectrum of hydrogen. There are 5 spectral series identified in hydrogen. They are Balmer series, Lyman series, Paschen series, Brackett series, and Pfund series. Spectral distribution is shown in this figure. We have first Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett, and Pfund. Balmer series. In 1885, when John Balmer observed the spectral line in the visible spectrum of hydrogen, he made the following observation. The longest wavelength is 656.3 nanometers. The second longest wavelength is 486.1 nanometer. And the third is 434.1 nanometer. Also, as the wavelength decreases, the lines appear closer together and weaken in intensity. He found a simple formula for the observed wavelengths. Further, for n is equals to infinity, you get the limit of series at a wavelength of 364.6 nanometers. Also, you can't see any lines beyond this. Only a faint continuous spectrum is observed. 1 by lambda equals to r into 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square. Lambda is the wavelength, r is the Rydberg's constant, and n can have any integral value. This is the Balmer series in the emission spectrum of hydrogen. For Lyman series, we have 1 by lambda equals to r into 1 raised to the power 2 minus 1 by n square. This is for the Paschen series where 1 changes to 3 raised to the power 2. Then we have a fourth Brackett series where 3 has been changed to 4 raised to the power 2. Then we have a Pfund series where it has been changed to 5 raised to the power 2. Talking about Bohr's atomic model, a Danish physicist named Niels Bohr in 1930 proposed the Bohr atomic model. He modified the problems and limitations associated with Rutherford's model of an atom. Earlier in Rutherford's model, Rutherford explained in an atom a nucleus is positively charged and is surrounded by electrons that are negatively charged particles. The electrons move around in a predictable path called orbits. Bohr modified Rutherford's model, where he explained that electrons move in a fixed orbital shell. Furthermore, he explained that each orbital shell has fixed energy levels. Therefore, Rutherford basically explained a nucleus of an atom, whereas Bohr took the model one step ahead. He explained about electrons and the different energy levels associated with it. According to Bohr atomic model, a small positively charged nucleus is surrounded by revolving negatively charged electrons in fixed orbit. He concluded that electron will have more energy if it is located away from the nucleus, whereas the electron will have less energy if it is located near the nucleus. In this diagram, we observe that there are positively charged particles at the center that are nothing but protons and neutrons which are not charged. In the orbits, there are negatively charged electrons that are continuously moving. Bohr's postulate. In an atom, electron revolves around the nucleus in certain definite circular path known as orbit or energy shells. Only these orbits are permitted for electron which angular momentum L is equals to mvr is a whole number multiple of h by 2 pi, where n equals to 1, 2, 3 up to continuous infinite numbers. We have mvr equals to 2 pi by n into h, where m is nothing but mass of electron, that is 9.1 into 10 raised to the power minus 31 kg. V is the revolving electron velocity. R is the radius of the orbit. When energy is supplied to electron, it absorbs the energy and jumps to higher level. And when energy is released, it jumps back to the lower level. In doing so, it emits energy. Now we wonder, how do electrons move in Bohr's model? The theory notes that electrons in atoms travel around a central nucleus in a circular orbit and can only orbit stably at a distinct set of distances from the nucleus in certain fixed circular orbits. Such orbits are related to certain energies and are also referred to as energy shells or energy levels. How did Bohr discover electrons? Bohr was the first to discover that electron moves around the nucleus in different orbits, and that an element's property are determined by the number of electrons in the outer orbit. Did Bohr's model have neutrons? The nucleus in atoms. Bohr model holds most of the atom's mass in its protons and neutrons. The term negatively charged electrons, which contribute little in terms of mass but are electrically equivalent to the proton in the nucleus, orbit the positively charged core. Now, finding out Rydberg's constant, we have two equations. We are going to consider mvr equals to 2 pi n into h. Then we have mv squared equals to r squared into k e raised to the power 2. From this equation, we get v is equals to 2 pi nh into k z e raised to the power 2. R is equals to 2 pi m into h in the brackets n into h into k into z into e raised to the power 2 into 2 pi. We get n into k into z into e raised to the power 2, n raised to the power 2, h raised to the power 2. The kinetic energy is mv square, which is equals to m into brackets, instead of v we are going to write nhk z e raised to the power 2 pi the whole square. Now we know that total energy is nothing but negative kinetic energy. Total energy is equals to h raised to the power 2 pi m into k raised to the power 2 e raised to the power 4 h raised to the power 2 into z raised to the power 2. When e jumps from n2 to n1, we get e raised to n raised to the power 2 equals to c into h square into z square. Now the change in the energy is given by E2 is equals to c into n square into z square. Now this change in the energy is given by lambda h into c, which is equals to c z square n to the base 1 minus n to the base 2. Here we get a value that is known as Rydberg's constant. Limitations of Bohr atomic model theory. There are certain limitations of Bohr's atomic theory, that is, it violates the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The Bohr atomic model theory considers electron to have both a known radius and orbit, that is, known position and momentum at the same time, which is impossible according to Heisenberg. The Bohr atomic model theory made correct predictions for smaller sized atoms like hydrogen, but poor spectral predictions are obtained when larger atoms are considered. It failed to explain the Zeeman effect when the spectral lines is split into several components in the presence of a magnetic field. It failed to explain the Stark effect when the spectral line gets split up into fine lines in the presence of an electric field. De Broglie came up with an explanation for why the angular momentum might be quantized in the manner Bohr assumed it was. De Broglie realized that if you use a wavelength associated with the electron and assume that an integral number of wavelength must fit in the circumference of an orbit, you get the same quantized angular momenta that Bohr did. The circumference of the circular orbit must be an integral number of wavelengths. The momentum is simply mv as long as we are talking about non-realistic, non-relativistic speeds, so this becomes 2 pi r nh upon mv. Rearranging this a little gives Bohr's relation, that is L equals to mvr equals to nh by 2 pi. Thank you.